and welcome back to the Stained Canvas. Today we are going to do a snowy winter cabin scene, and it's going to be a watercolor. So if you want to paint along, go ahead, get your watercolor, a wash brush, some cerulean blue, ultramarine, and Payne's gray paint, and some white gouache. As also, we're going to need some salt because we're going to do the watercolor salt technique. So on screen here, you'll see I am getting my cerulean blue ready to go. Once that's pooled up and ready to go, I'm going to grab my pencil and we're going to draw some snowdrifts. So just at the bottom part of the page here, just some gentle hills kind of thing. And then on the bottom right side, I add a cabin. Now you want to have a little bit of a perspective cabin. So you're going to see the corner of the cabin, the front and the side of the cabin, and the corner is going to be facing you. So if you haven't done any perspective before, maybe take a look at what I'm doing before you start painting. I'm just doing the roof, the sides, and a front door. And it does not have to be very detailed. I am going very easy on the detail, just the basic shapes. Essentially, hopefully the final picture will have a very misty type of cabin. We know it's a cabin, but it's kind of in a snowstorm. So we just see some basic shapes of it. Here I'm going in and I'm getting some ultramarine ready to go. I'm actually going to mix cerulean and ultra together because I want to do a bit of a different color blue. And then to even darken it more, I go in a little bit later in this painting and use the Payne's gray. So it's a wet on wet technique, and for that you have to have wet paper. So I'm literally just painting with clean water right now, and I want to get the paper saturated. I don't want pooling though, so you'll see I'm tilting my page here because I don't want drips and I don't want puddles. I do want the paper to look shiny. Shiny is very good, that's what we want. If you give the paper a second, it'll suck up some more of that water. And then once everything is completely wet, no drips, no puddles, we're going to go in from the top and we're going to work our way down. But we're doing it horizontally. So we don't want to make our brush go vertical. We want to go side to side, left to right, right to left, that type of thing, working our way towards the bottom. You'll see here, I'm going in. And you can go in and, apply even more paint if you want. If you want it to be super blue, you can go in and have it super blue. I'm aiming for a medium kind of tone. And you'll see here, I'm tilting my board. And the reason I do that is you'll see if I have too much watercolor on or it's too wet, it'll drip down. So I am avoiding bubbles, or puddles rather, and bubbles. And literally the watercolor is helping me. It's covering the bottom here. So you see I have my puddling kind of at that last line. I'm going to pull it down. And because I have my piece of watercolor paper taped to a cardboard, I can tilt the cardboard and tidy up with a paper towel. So I'm still avoiding puddles and drips. I'm going to go in and I'm still with the ultramarine trying to get it dark enough, like as dark as I can get it, right? So just going to go over, keep applying the color, keep tilting the board to make sure that I am having zero puddling and zero drips. And we're just going to keep going till you're happy and satisfied with however dark your watercolor layer is. So you see here I'm kind of going around the cabin that I drew in, and here I'm going with the Payne's gray because I want darker. I don't know, I just really want more dark this day. And we are going to do a layer of it and then tilt it and clean it. So you'll see I grab a paper towel, and because it's on a cardboard, see how it's pooling towards the edge? I'm just running it along the masking tape, and it's just tidying up any excess liquid that I have on it. I'm also going to tilt it the other way just to kind of get a good coverage of color. Like it just tilts and it'll run either way. Now we're going to add some salt, and look right away, because the properties of salt it likes to attract water. So it's activated as soon as you apply it onto your painting. What the salt's going to do is pull the watercolor towards it, and it makes this fantastic technique. It gives so much movement to the watercolor, it's unbelievable. So you see here, I'm going to clean off the roof because I don't need salt technique on the roof. We're going to paint it with white gouache. So I'm just tidying up, cleaning it as best I can. It will activate a little because there's salt all over this. But see here, it's still visible. I still have my paper lines, and there's actually still salt on this board. So I just take a soft, clean, dry cloth and just knock the salt off of my painting. And as soon as that's cleaned up, we'll be able to go in with the gouache and apply a little more details to the environment. But look how fantastic that atmosphere is. It looks like it's a big snowstorm and there's, windy, snowy things happening. I just love this technique for it. And if you ever get a chance, or if you're painting along, I really hope it works out for you, because sometimes it's just so beautiful when this works out properly. So here I'm activating the cerulean blue again, because it will take a day or two for your painting to dry. So activating the cerulean blue, and I'm actually going in also and using some white gouache. So the gouache is very important because this is a snowy scene, and snow on a roof is going to be white, right? And I'm not too worried if the gouache activates some of the watercolor underneath, because it will give it a little bit of a blue tint, and that is a-okay as well, because in snow and in water and ice, it is kind of a blue tint to it. So I'm not worrying whatsoever about tint, mixing my white and my blue, because watercolor does reactivate when you put more liquid on top. Here's the roof, and you can see once I start getting in the main parts of my cabin, it really starts to come together. So I'm just finding the one side of my roof. I'm going to find the front, and I will also define the side of my cabin. So here I'm figuring out where the front is, and I'm going to put in a blue door. So everything is blue and white. So I'm going in with my cerulean blue. I'm also going to define the snow drifts. Now that scared me because it was so intense, but I just cleaned off my brush, and I'm going to spread it in and have it flow a little bit more. To define the two snow drifts that I have to put darker blue up next to the other snow drifts so that it has contrast and it looks like it's two different drifts with maybe a driveway or a walkway headed towards the cabin. I'm also going to go in and do the hangs, like the roof, underhangs, put some little blue there for shadow. I'm going to find the door. I'm not doing a doorknob. I'm not doing, a door window. It's just the basic shape, like insinuating that there is a door here. Nothing is getting intense detail because essentially you're far away and there's like a snowstorm happening in this picture. So you could just see, vague shapes of the house. Now, if you're seeing this, okay, it looks like my cabin is just in the middle of nowhere. But once I add the trees in the background, I add a whole bunch of like evergreen trees, like Christmas tree type of trees, and it really sets the cabin into the picture. You'll see I'm still trying to define parts of the cabin that are shadowed, like in shadow. And I'm going to also, so here is just cerulean blue. It's the same kind of blue we've been pretty much using the entire time, but I am putting it a little bit darker in value. So I'm just putting less water, more pigment kind of thing. But once I get all the trees in, it really sets the cabin into the picture. And to do the evergreen trees, you're just making kind of like scribbles with your paintbrush in a triangular shape. I'm just doing back and forth, and you want gaps in your branches because, you know, a Christmas tree, you can see through some of the branches sometimes. So if you see here, I'm just putting spots of darker color in. This is going to make it look like it has a lot of depth in the trees. And we're going in. I'm also going to add trees on the other side towards the front, but still behind the house. So here we go. And I'm being very careful not to get the trees on top of the walls of the house. I want that sharp line to distinguish between house and foresty background. So I'm just going to darken up a little bit of the snowdrift also. And I'm also going to go in more with some darker blue for the trees on the opposite side of the house there. But see, once I put this dark in, you can really see and tell that these two snowdrifts are completely different from each other. They're not the same drift, and it looks like there's a walkway or some kind of driveway leading up to this cabin in the woods. So I'm just enhancing some of the values in this so it doesn't look just all washed out. And you can tell I'm pulling out some of these snowdrifts. And if you want, you can add a little bit of gouache on top to give it a little highlight like I'm doing here. Just gives it that extra. That's where like the haze or the light is shining on. So we're going to finish some of these trees here. So I do a little bit of bushes and I don't like it. I want more tree up above the roof to define the roof a little more. So I'm just going to go in and do my scribbly evergreens again, back and forth, making sure that it's not just a solid triangle. It has lots of different value in it, so it looks like the branches are, you know, holy and not just one solid triangle. So you see here, I'm loving this, but I'm going to add some shrubbery. And I'm going to angle it away so that it looks like it's the forest line. Like you'll see here, there's a big clearing where the cabin is, and I'm adding in littler trees that are kind of far away and little bushes that are essentially going into the distance, so it's becoming smaller. So I'm just loving this as it's turning out so far. I'm going to just do a couple more dark spots and make little grasses, like little tiny bushes that are far away, not very visible, but you could see there's like some different, you know, shapes and stuff in it. And we're going to go in darker with this snowdrift here. And I'm trying to level it all out and get it all smooth. And I'm liking this. This is looking so fantastic. And we're going to do the peel now. This is the dried up picture painting. I really love how it turned out. You could make this as a Christmas card if you feel like it, like if you'd like. It makes for a beautiful, fairly quick painting, right? You only need the dry time. So I hope you had fun. I hope you painted along. And I'll see you guys next time on the stained canvas. So bye for now, and thanks again for watching.